Is the 28th of April. Welcome to this morning's committee meeting. I'm joined by Marquise Harris Dawson, so we have a quorum. It's a special meeting. Mr. Clerk, why don't you read what we've got going here, and let's get started.
Good morning, sir. Items on today's agenda. Would you like me to read all the items, sir?
You know what? I hope to move some of them. Why don't you just run through them real quick?
Certainly. Item number 1 is Resolution Harris-Dawson, Huizar, relative to the city's position regarding budgeting Measure H funds to the City of LA's homeless issues. Item number 2 is Resolution Englander-Buscaino and CLA report relative to the city's position on legislation to enable local jurisdictions to impound, seize, auction, or destroy vehicles involved in hit-and-run crimes, etc. Item number 3 is Resolution Martinez-Rue and CLA report relative to the city's position on Senate Bill 597. Item number 4 is Resolution Krikorian-Martinez and CLA report relative to the city's position on Assembly Bill 814. Item number 5 is Resolution Wesson-Rue and CLA report relative to the city's position on Senate Bill 687. Item number 6 is Resolution Blumenfeld-Krikorian and CLA report relative to the city's position on Assembly Bill 795. Item number 7 is Resolution Cedillo-Englander and CLA report relative to the city's position on Assembly Bill 1316. Item number 8 is Resolution Cedillo-Harris-Dawson and CLA report relative to the city's position on extending the Proposition 84 grant performance period for the Ord and York Park project. Item number 9 is Resolution Wesson-Martinez and CLA report relative to the city's position on Assembly Bill 466. Item number 10 is Resolution Rue-O'Farrell and CLA report relative to the city's position on Assembly Bill 25. Item number 11 is Resolution Blumenfeld-Cedillo-O'Farrell et al. And CLA report relative to the city's position regarding legislative action concerning President Donald J. Trump and the Emoluments Clause of the United States Constitution. Item number 12 is Resolution Harris-Dawson-Rue and CLA report relative to the city's position on Assembly Bill 1520. And item number 13 is a revised resolution, Wesson-Rue, regarding the city's position concerning the joint statement of unity. That is all the items.
Okay, well, you know what? I think, and you stop me if I'm wrong, on the consent calendar, I believe we can move items 2 and 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12, and they're all to adopt the CLA report and resolution. Am I right on that?
Yes, sir, that is correct. We do have cards on items 1, 4, 11, and 13.
Okay, so let's move the items that I stated. So without objection, that'll be the order. Okay, so now I want to call up Mr. Previn. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. He's got items 1, 4, 11, and 13, I believe.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's Eric Previn from the 2nd District. I note Huizar is absent. First, I'm going to take the bull by the horns. This item 11 about the Emoluments Clause and impeaching the President of the United States, you know, whereas I think a lot of people in the room are supportive of that political stance, I am a Democrat, and I also feel concerned about the ethics of the presidency, but I am concerned about putting those kinds of things on a public meeting agenda, because if it was a year ago and President Obama or, you know, all these guys are embroiled in scandals, you know, I just think that we got 14 against 1 on this particular, or 13 against 1, sir, because you're wearing 2 hats. I just, you know, I want to raise my personal voice and say I support the idea of ethics in the White House, but I do not like this kind of an area on public meeting agendas personally. And coming from Mr. O'Farrell, who is a treasured partner and big leader among the rights groups and so on and so forth, he ought to return the excessive contributions that he didn't. The Ethics Commission here in this building found 4-1 that Masaborski over-contributed to him. So I would ask him to simply give that money back. And these are all Democrats. We're all Democrats here. So let's be kind and move forward. Item number 4 is, you got Rich Llewellyn over here cavorting with
No,
straw
why
man
don't just
fumble.
talk
Item
to
4.
the item?
Yeah, well, I will, but I'm talking about your desire to have the city attorney's office have pre-litigation subpoena power, which I talked to one business owner about that, and he said, "What? Are you kidding me? The city," and it's all big cities who want to do it, and it's not in the public's interest, it's in the city attorney's interest, which is sometimes in your interest, sometimes not, but I'm not for that without more information, and I do not recommend you bring that to the full council for that reason. Item number 1, the overwhelming and chronic concentration of homeless in our communities is the scourge of our time and something that we are all hyper-focused on solving, and I appreciate the efforts here to reach out to Mark Ridley Thomas and the Board of Supervisors who passed Measure H, the services component, to bring that to fruition. I will say, and you can check City Watch LA today, my name, Eric Previn, and Joshua Previn wrote an article about HHH, your side of that, which does point to more scrutiny required, and there's a few specific demands that I would ask, and Patty Huber and Rich Llewellyn have been doing a great job of not posting audio links to the meetings they have. I would suggest that they change that slightly and post audio links so that the many voters who voted for all this stuff, even in a quiet time, can get access, and we can provide what you know is important, which is the public scrutiny piece, to make sure that measures passed by voters don't result in money being squandered and covering city costs in a variety of ways that are unsavory. Well, for example, yesterday I asked very specifically and plaintively, what is the administrative fee for the city on a $3.5 million project? The response was...
Thank you, Mr. Previn, thank you. Okay, so, Mr. Clerk, now why don't we move on items 1, 4, and 13, and on items 1 and 4, I would recommend that we adopt the CLA report and resolution, unless Mr. Harris Dawson wants to chime in on that. That'll be the order. And on item 13, we will adopt the revised resolution. So ordered. Okay? So now that brings us where? To item 11?
Yes, sir, item number 11.
Okay, so what I have some cards from the public, and I want to welcome all of you. But I want to ask for Ms. Shaw from Mr. Blumenfield's office to come forward. You could just come in here. You're okay there, or you can come in here, whatever you choose.
I'm good here. Thank you, Council President Wesson and Councilmember Harris Dawson, for hearing us today and hearing this motion. We apologize that the council member can't be here. As you know, he's in budget this afternoon, and we're preparing with staff for all of the budget committee reports that are being done today. He did want to be here to thank both the committee for hearing this and to thank all the folks who came down to support this motion. This is a motion that the council member feels very, very strongly about. I heard Mr. Previn, but what this tsunami known as Donald Trump has done in just 100 days is devastating and will continue to be devastating to both our city in terms of funding, to our residents in terms of what he's done with immigrant rights and with women's rights and with workers' rights, and to keep this going is frightening. So we urge your full support for this motion and to move it on to council for a full vote as soon as possible. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And if Mr. Blumenfield can't make it, you are definitely a welcome replacement. Okay, if I could get Randy Bennett, I think Michelle Sutter, and Brooke Teal Robbins. And if anybody else wanted to speak, you should fill out a card now. The order doesn't matter. Just welcome. Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm not going to go into
For
details.
the record, Joe, just identify yourself.
I'm sorry. My name is Randy Bennett. I'm not going to go into details about why this resolution is being put forth, what I would like to emphasize is the support out there for this type of action. I am here personally with members of the West Valley Resistance Group, which is aligned with the Indivisible movement. I am personally also involved with the ACLU People Power campaign, the Impeach Trump Now, Move On, other movements. It's become obvious to me, and this is the main point I'd like to stress, that we're not just a few crackpots proposing an off-the-wall agenda. We represent the tip of the iceberg. We represent the growing nationwide groundswell of concern that we, the people, have for what's going on.
Thank you, sir. If I could please have the next speaker and identify yourself. Good morning.
Good morning, Council President Wesson. My name's Michelle Sutter. I appreciate that the committee has responded with speed to the resolution offering the support of the City of Los Angeles for any legislative action leading to the investigation of whether or not our president is in violation of the Emoluments Clause of the U.S. Constitution. This is a crisis in our democracy with no precedent. President Donald Trump has been violating his oath to faithfully execute his office and defend and uphold the U.S. Constitution since he was sworn in with his hand on the Bible while the whole world watched, and he's getting away with it. I know you received the analysis recently completed by George W. Bush and Barack Obama's chief ethics lawyers and Harvard Law professor Lawrence Tribe. So if there's doubt that President Trump is getting away with violating the Constitution, please have a look at their analysis. If we cannot, as a country, unite around the national security need to uncover the full scope of those foreign and domestic actors from whom our president is receiving emoluments and what those nations... May I ask your indulgence for a second minute? I thought I was going to have two.
No, only one. I would love to give you more.
Alrighty.
So
next week, perhaps.
if I could get, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
If I could get the next speaker.
For the record, my name is Brooke Teal Robbins. I am the founder and current president of Indivisible Suffragette Sisters in association with West Valley Resistance and like-minded indivisible organizations and groups that have currently established through the indivisibleguide.com. We are in solidarity of item number 11. Even Donald Trump stated in a previous tweet, he asked the question, are you allowed to impeach a president for gross incompetence? And the answer is yes. Based on the facts that are confirmed that Russia illegally tried to hack into our election to help Trump win, based on the confirmed fact that as this was happening, key members of Trump's campaign were conducting meetings with Russian officials, based on the confirmed fact that recent recruiters poll found that the majority of Americans think Russia...
You know what? This is what we're going to do. I'm going to give Mr. Previn another minute. I'm going to give Ms. Sutter another minute. I'm going to give the doc another minute. So just go on and finish your thought, okay?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your generosity with the time.
Go ahead.
Based on the confirmed fact that recent recruiters poll found that the majority of Americans think Russia poses between a moderate and imminent threat to the United States. I was a youth ambassador when I was a child, and I actually went to Russia, and I know that leaders of the country appear initially to represent citizens, but in fact it's we the people, it's the citizens of a country, and the citizens of both Russia and the citizens of both the United States advocate for this particular item, number 11. You would be representing not only Los Angeles County, but the international community at large. In advocating for this investigation, it would be appropriate, and we appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sutter, you want to come on, or you?
Mr. President.
Go ahead.
If we cannot, as a country, unite around the national security need to uncover the full scope of those foreign and domestic actors from whom our president is receiving emoluments and what those nations or individuals have gotten or expect to get in return, If we cannot come together to insist that the U.S. Constitution also applies to President Trump, if by our inaction we affirm that flagrant and unapologetic disregard for America's founding document is to be tolerated, then we may as well put the Constitution in the shredder, or worse, watch as it shrivels to become a crusty artifact of the lost promise of America. We will need to bridge the gap between partisanship and patriotism in order to uphold the promise of our Constitution. Can we find those bridge builders here in Los Angeles? I ask for the committee's unanimous vote to advance this resolution to the full council. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Bennett?
Thank you very much, sir.
Hold this time. Mr. President, if you want an additional minute, you need to work your way over this side. Yes, sir.
Okay. The only thing I wanted to add is if you look at the hundreds of thousands of people who showed up for the Women's March, the Tax March, the March for Science, you can see the size of the concern in this nation for what is happening in Washington in general. And as another example of that, if I could maybe ask for those members in attendance who are in favor of this resolution to please stand.
Thank you
Thank
all
you very much, sir.
Thank you all for getting up early and coming down, so it's appreciated. Mr. Previn?
Thank you, Council President Wesson. Just for the record, because this is an audio recording, about 30 people stood up when that man asked who's in support, so that's important. I don't think they heard the 30 people rise up, but that's impressive. Maybe 25, but a fair number of folks. I appreciate the extra minutes, sir, and I want to say hearing from the public is so important here at City Hall, and I know that today we have a budget hearing and a City Council meeting and all of that coming up, and I appreciate your reaching out. Maybe today we could comply with Rule 93 and make sure, like at the first part of the budget hearing.
Stay on the subject, Mr. Previn, please.
Sure. Rules Committee, here we are in Rules Committee. 93 is my favorite rule, and I would just ask that we comply with it today. And thank you, sir, for your generosity.
Okay. So I have no more cards, so that concludes public comment on this issue. Mr. Harris Dawson, did you have anything that you wanted to add on item 11? Okay. Well, it would appear that we've both been convinced, so without objection, we will adopt the CLA report and resolution on this item. So let it be written, so let it be done. Mr. Clerk, is there any additional business before this committee?
No, sir, that clears the desk.
Then this committee is adjourned. Thank you all again for coming. Thank you so much.